For some people, flying their drone out over water is no different to any other type of flight, but there are a few things that if you get any of them wrong, you'll be saying goodbye to your drone far sooner than you want. So a very quick video today on what to do and definitely what not to do when you're flying out over large expanses of water. Hello, I'm Ian and I play with drones, coming to you today from Antwerp over in Belgium, an incredible port city with the most absolutely amazing and vast river making its way out to the North Sea, surrounded by incredible industrial architecture all along the banks, as well as a fairly impressive old town centre or city centre. So a lot of the flights I've been doing today have involved flying over water, and there are a few things you really need to take into consideration when you are flying over water, because obviously it's pretty unforgiving. You hit something that's going to stop the props, down it goes into the water, and there is no retrieving that drone for DJI to repair. So a couple of pointers today. First off, very obvious one, wind. Now today it's a beautiful calm day. Yesterday it was like the end of the world, windy and really not appropriate for flying. I've often said it before, when you're taking off you want to make sure that you are flying out into the wind so that when it is coming back you're flying home with the wind and it won't get into trouble, because obviously if you are over water there is no opportunity for you to do a remote landing if it's struggling and fighting to get back because it's fighting against the wind. So keep an eye on where the wind is coming from and make sure it's not too windy for your drone to be making it safely home. Another key point, of course, is obstacles. Again, it sounds obvious, but often you have overhanging trees, there might be cables, cranes, or even masts of boats if you're flying near a marina. And worse, some of those things might be moving, because obviously boats do move. So good idea is always to keep your altitude quite high. Stay at least 20, 30, 40 meters above the water. Not only is that hopefully going to keep you above any overhanging trees or obstacles, but it's quite easy for the drone to get confused and alter its height unexpectedly and without any input from you, especially if it's got obstacle avoidance, and especially if the obstacle avoidance is in bypass mode, where things can be a little bit jumpier. As I said, it is quite common for drones to alter their height when you're flying along if you're very close to the ground. And the same is true when you're flying over water. Of course, if it increases in height, that's not necessarily a problem. But if you're skimming over the water and it suddenly decides to decrease its height, then it is going to hit the water, and the moment it hits the water, the props will stop and it will sink, and it's goodbye drone as well. So definitely want to keep your height over the water a good 5 to 10 meters, 30 feet absolute minimum. So you've still got a bit of a buffer if the drone does suddenly decide to descend unexpectedly. And another problem you can have is the downward vision system. Now, when I was flying up near the High Force waterfall up in the north of England a few months ago, I suffered this very same problem. The downward vision system helps keep the position of the drone, but unfortunately it's very easy to get confused with reflective surfaces, and in my case it got confused with the patterns of the water and the foam streaming away from the waterfall itself, and it actually did move the drone without any input from me, and it resulted in it hitting the trees and falling to the rocks below. And then finally, again, I have said it before, but it's all the more pertinent when you're flying out over water: don't push the battery. Make sure the battery is fully charged. If it does go into low battery, it's going to try and do an auto descent. You can override that auto descent with the left stick, but the moment you let go of the stick, it will carry on trying to descend. And again, obviously there is no possibility for you to do a remote landing to retrieve the drone later if you're right the way out over a river. So keep an eye on the battery. Always a good idea to take flight with a brand new fully charged battery rather than something that's half used. Again, you should make it back to fly another day. Anyway, I know some of those points may sound extremely basic and common sense, like battery and wind, but other points like a drone descending suddenly may not be so obvious, especially if you've never suffered that before. So, as ever, now you know some of these points, hopefully you won't have any problems when you're next taking in a scene like today. So, got a little bit more flying to do as the sun's setting. As ever, if you like this sort of thing, give me a little thumbs up, always helps the video cause. Till next time, have fun, happy flying.